TIFU by telling a Japanese friend that his son could eat. This happened today. I've been friends with a Japanese dude and his wife for about a year. They have 2 young sons and have been here in America for about a year and a half. As he's in the Japanese Air Force and was selected to be stationed here for 30 months. I met him roughly a year ago when he joined the karate dojo that I'm in, and we became instant friends. Over the past year, he's come to my house at least once or twice a month and we make a bunch of food, train karate, play video games, and I have been learning Japanese, which he helps me a lot with, and I have been helping him with his English. Usually, he brings one or both of his sons, who are about the same age as my 2 kids. Tonight he came over for steaks and brought one of his sons. He wanted me to teach him how to make steak, so I bought 5 pounds of prime filet mignon and showed him how to make one of them using the reverse searing method. In the oven first, then on a super hot griddle for searing after it's done in the oven. And the rest we made on my charcoal grill with hickory chips. He said nobody really has grills in Japan, so I wanted to show him how to cook it both ways and let him taste steak done each way. Made broccoli with it and also homemade mashed potatoes and homemade gravy, and taught him how to make those as well. So far, so good. The issue came up when I was plating and serving everyone. I always serve the kids first, so I served his son first, and then my kids. His son, who barely speaks English, started to dig in right away, and my friend started scolding him in Japanese. My Japanese still isn't great, but what I got from it was, "What's wrong with you? You do not disrespect these people in their house. Wait until everyone is served before eating." Quote. I casually said, "It's okay. My kids already started eating too. I don't mind if he eats now." My friend got visibly upset, and that's when I knew I messed up. I didn't think about the respect culture of the Japanese correcting a parent in front of their child, and saying that the child is okay to do something that the parent told them was not okay, is insanely disrespectful in Japan. In America, we do stuff like this all the time and nobody thinks anything of it. It's fine. "We don't mind" is commonplace here when a child is a guest in our homes and a parent scolds for something we truly don't mind them doing. But in Japan, things are a whole lot different, and I should have been mindful about that. They quietly finished eating, told me afterward that it was fantastic, and left. This never happens. I sent him a text about an hour after they left and he didn't respond. Hopefully, I didn't just lose a good friend, but I really feel like TIFU. TLDR. My Japanese friend told his 8-year-old son to stop eating and wait for everyone else to be served. Before starting, I told him it was fine for his son to go ahead and dig in without waiting because my own kids were already eating anyway and we didn't mind. This was a major violation of Japanese respect culture, and I may have lost my friend over it. Edit. I sent him an apology and told him that I felt like I may have crossed the line of respect in Japanese culture by undermining him in front of his son. He responded to that message. Quote, "I totally forget about that. It is okay. As long as you did not feel bad about my son eating before you guys. I am okay. I just try not to be rude to you guys. Thank you for the great feast. Do not worry about it. I did not feel anything about that. Have a good weekend." Quote. I hope he's sincere in forgiving me for this, and we can continue to be friends as we have been for the past year. I really feel bad for it, and hopefully he knows it was a cultural difference and that I recognize it and won't repeat it. Go ahead and apologize to your friend directly and state you didn't mean to undermine their authority and it was knee-jerk reaction for something common in your culture. You'll be sure to remember in the future. Admitting you realized you made a mistake and didn't mean to offend him or his culture could help prevent the loss of your friend, just be sure to do it in a way that doesn't come off like you're trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal. A lot of people, when apologizing for cultural differences, do it from a place of ignorance they don't intend to solve. Things like, it's just not something we see as a big deal, so I didn't think of it, isn't the right option. Versus culture aside, it could be seen as a slight to their parenting methods and choices, so keep that in mind as well. I live in Japan. It would be weird to make that big of a deal of something like that here. Certainly would be seen as a massive overreaction by most, if they even saw it as bad. Honestly, I think it's just him and nothing to do with Japan. Your friend is here learning American culture as much as you're being respectful and recognizing Japanese culture. I would explain no offense was meant, but just like you said here, it is often common for a person entertaining their guests to do that. Oh, no worries, to make people feel at home and be polite. No harmful intent was meant, and truly your friend should come to expect that type of thing in American households. Something your friend can also teach their kids who get to experience a new culture. My wife is Japanese. While I see that you may feel UFO pretty bad, I'd say that the Japanese father likely already forgot about it and moved on. Your apology may be appreciated, but it's highly possible that he'd be surprised by it. Japanese people, in my experience, are very laid back with foreigners when it comes to cultural things. They'll quickly hold each other to social norms and rules, but drop them quickly when it comes to outsiders. In fact, if you pay close attention, you may notice that they sometimes may believe it impossible for outsiders to even have the capacity to understand their culture. It's subtle and it's hiding behind their public face. Please don't take that as if I'm hating on the Japanese. I love my wife and her family and loved living in Japan. Japanese people are generally very warm and inviting. But like many cultures in the world, they tend to think very highly of themselves. I don't think this is as much a cultural thing as this incident is making you believe. I think it's just the guy. Japanese culture is complex and interesting. But my experience, having traveled there many times, is that a heartfelt apology will be well received. Good luck. Hopefully he'll realize it's a cultural thing and get over it. But I also hope that your kids do know that in anything but a very informal setting, the polite thing is to wait till everyone is served before you start eating. If the host, everyone else, tells you to tuck in, then fair enough. But otherwise it does look rude if you start eating while others are still waiting for their food. I get that you were intending to be welcoming with what you said. You had zero intention of being disrespectful. I really don't think you'll lose your friend over this. It seems like you're super reflective too. If your friend is a good dude, he's not going to write you off over this. And you'll be given the opportunity to explain. You're going to be okay. The fact that you care enough to ask the internet is a good sign. Next time you see your friend, genuinely apologize for offending, disrespecting him in front of his family. Dob it privately. One-on-one. Don't say too much. Just apologize and ask if you can make it up to him via another dinner or bottle of wine or something. Or don't really do this, him a legitimate, actual sword. If you have the money. Or a sword that's been passed down in your family for generation. You must now commit seppuku. I actually think this might be a double misunderstanding. Did your friend assume that Americans all say grace before beginning the meal? I learned early on as a parent to never say, "Oh, it's okay," to another child if the other parent is clearly trying to correct their behavior. I've gotten a few, "No, it's not okay," thrown at me for my troubles. I'm US West Coast. Many of my best friends are Japanese. From either here in the US or that I met while in Japan. Just going by the law of averages. This will be fine. As a Japanese born in America who's married to a wife from Japan, I can promise you he is sincere. He was super embarrassed about his son's behavior in his eyes. And that's all there is to it. I would just drop it and forget about it. Good on you for thinking about this. Wish I had a friend like you. You must now commit Sudoku. Lived in Japan over 12 years. I feel you are overthinking this. Yes, it is quite important to wait to eat until everyone has received their meal in Japan. But you as host provide a different cultural context which Japanese people understand and are generally happy to adapt to. I speak Japanese fluently and don't see this idea of losing face in front of the children as any kind of issue usually. Most people would just prefer not to make any kind of fuss. Not just Japanese culture. In my culture too. We parent our children. And we tend to get, maybe offended is too strong a word, but it's a sore point when someone overrides what we try and teach our kids. I don't think it's a major foo if you could realize what the faux pas was and sought to correct it. Try to explain that you didn't understand the cultural differences and are very sorry if you offended him and that it won't happen again. Hopefully he will be able to look past this as it seems you two are pretty good friends. I am surprised on how open-minded Op is. I am not Japanese but I would be annoyed too if a friend directly interfered with my parenting. It's hard enough to have enough respect from kids that they listen to you without them being directly told not to listen to you by another adult.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.